Hey guys, in today's video, we're going to be talking about the life cycle of a plant and what a plant needs to survive. So what is a plant's life cycle? The life cycle of a plant is how its life begins and how that life continues and how, more plants get made. So let's talk about that. So first we start with a seed. If you guys have ever planted a seed, it's like a tiny little thing and you plant it into the ground. So then you get to water that plant. The seed absorbs the water, and then the first thing that comes is a little root. So a little root starts to come through into the ground, and then it becomes a seedling or a new plant. Then that plant will start to grow out of the ground and start to grow as a tiny little young plant. Then the stem and its leaves will start to grow, and the leaves will start to point toward the sunlight so the leaves can make food for the plant. And then that plant might start to make flowers, which will make seeds, and then the seeds are going to be ready to be planted all over again. So there's that cycle of how the life works. And here's a very simple picture of it. We start with a seed here. This is a tomato. Tomato is actually a fruit. It has a seed inside of it. So the seed you can pull out of the tomato and plant it into the ground. It gets water, it gets nutrients, it starts to grow into a young plant, which grows into a bigger, mature plant. And then that plant will grow a flower, which will then grow some fruit, the tomato, and then you take the seed and plant it into the ground. Do you guys see how we went in a complete circle there? That is a life cycle. Isn't that right, Pat? Did you come from a seed? Yes, I know I'm crazy for talking to a plant. Yes, Pat did come from a seed. And Pat, are you making seeds? He is. Pat is making seeds too. So then we could end up taking seeds from Pat and planting them into the ground. All right, what does a plant need to survive? So plants need certain things to survive. Now, I am terrible at taking care of plants. Whenever I have a plant, it usually dies. This is not my plant. Pat belongs to my fiance. I borrowed him. He is much, much better at taking care of plants than I am. So plants need water, air, nutrients, and sunlight. Now, the air that they need is a little bit different than ours. The nutrients they need is a little bit different than ours, but they need water and sunlight. Water, just like us, sunlight, we need to stay warm so that we don't freeze. So that's a little similar to us. And we also need nutrients. We need food to survive, and we need air to breathe. So plants are a little different, but all in all, they need things to survive just like humans do. All right, so let's talk about what else plants need. Plants need carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is that air that they breathe. Plants need carbon dioxide, the gas that we breathe out. So if I breathe in, I'm breathing in oxygen. But if I breathe out, I'm breathing out carbon dioxide. Oxygen in, carbon dioxide out. And carbon dioxide is what Pat needs to breathe. So if I go, I just gave him all new air to breathe. It probably smells like coffee. Sorry about that, Pat. Plants take this in and then they give off oxygen. So they take in that carbon dioxide and then they put out that oxygen that we need. So it's a cycle here. If you can see in this picture, I'll move it over. We've got carbon dioxide coming out of the person and then, and then oxygen coming out of the plant. So we'll talk about that a little bit more, but they need that carbon dioxide that we breathe out. Plants also need something called chlorophyll. Plants need chlorophyll. This is what makes the plants green. So because he has chlorophyll, his leaves are green. You can kind of see the cells of what chlorophyll looks like in there. Super cool. Chlorophyll makes lets plants use energy from the sunlight to make food. So the chlorophyll is what takes the sunlight in and makes the food for a plant using photosynthesis. And we'll talk more about photosynthesis soon. Plants need sunlight. Plants need sunlight that comes from, you guessed it, the sun. And they use that energy from the sun using their chlorophyll to make the energy to make their food. They need that sunlight to grow. The plants in the stem will grow toward the sun. Remember, we talked about how Pat is super long on this side because this is the side that he had closest to the window where the sunlight was coming from. So he would reach out and get closer to the sun so that he could get the most energy and the most food from the sun. And plants need water. Without water, plants will not grow and will die. Just like we humans need water, and if we don't have water, we're gonna die. Plants need water just as much. The roots of the plant will collect water. So if you water a plant, so if I were to pour some water into Pat's pot right here, if I were to pour it in, it's going to go in through his soil down to where the roots are. And once he drinks up as much as he can, you can kind of see, you see this icky water at the bottom? That went through the soil, through his roots. He drank up all that he could drink. And then once he was full, he went ahead and took a break. Just like we will eat as much as we can on our plate and then say, whew, no more, I'm full. So then that collects the water, which will then help the plant to grow. Seeds also will not sprout or grow new plants without water. So in order for a seed to become a plant, you need to add water. All right, and tomorrow we're going to be talking about what pollination is. So tune into tomorrow's video to learn about pollination, which is making new plants. Super cool. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow.